Investigating Children's Irony Comprehension, the podcast. Welcome to the podcast Investigating Children's Irony Comprehension. Ironic utterances are an integral part of our everyday communication. Irony can serve to express criticism in a humorous way. For example, when someone accidentally drops a vase and you comment on it with a statement like, "Well done." This form of irony, namely ironic criticism, is more common than ironic compliments. With an ironic compliment, you make a negative statement that is meant positively. For example, when someone scores a brilliant goal in football and you say humorously, "What a bad shot." So, we are very familiar with such utterances in our everyday communication. But let's be honest. Would you also use irony when talking to a younger child? For example, comment ironically on a mishap of the child? No? But why not? We actually assume that adults usually understand irony without any problems, but with children we think that irony is related to comprehension difficulties. From a scientific point of view, understanding irony is a pragmatic skill. Pragmatics is the study of how language is used to communicate. This is how the well-known pragmatist Stephen C. Levinson recently phrased it. Pragmatics is not concerned with describing and explaining the linguistic system at the phonetic or sentence level, for example, but with how we use language in communication. When we communicate, we often mean more or something different than we literally say. For example, if I ask a friend if she wants to go to the cinema and she replies, "I have to work that night," she's communicating much more than just the information that she has to work. She's also telling me that she cannot make it and that she is therefore rejecting my invitation. There is another phenomenon in which what is said and what is meant are not congruent. Strictly speaking, what is said and what is meant are even often in opposition to each other. I am talking about irony. When we say something ironically, we often mean the opposite of what we say. But we are not lying. Instead, we want the person we are speaking to recognize our non-literal communicative intention. This is what makes irony so special, but also so complex. Researchers have been studying children's irony comprehension for over 40 years. Nevertheless, it remains something of a scientific puzzle. This is because research on pragmatic development has shown that children master a large number of pragmatic skills very early on. Linguist Ingrid Lossius Falkum summed this up very well in 2022. Children are born communicators. But understanding ironic utterances presents children with challenges for a comparatively long time. The exact age of acquisition could not yet be identified. This is the result of a review article on 40 years of research on children's irony comprehension, which was published in the journal Pragmatics Cognition in 2023. But often the age of about 6 to 7 years is mentioned. Many researchers worldwide are keen to gain a deeper understanding of children's comprehension of irony and solve this scientific puzzle. One example of this is a conference on children's irony comprehension, which took place at Leipzig University in 2024. To attend, researchers from countries such as Norway, England, Switzerland, and even Canada came to Leipzig. Together, they discussed current trends, challenges, and perspectives in the field of children's irony comprehension. And all of them are conducting research projects in this area. At Leipzig University, for example, there is an irony project called Pragiro, which investigates children's understanding of irony in typical and atypical development. In this context, we developed the LIRO method, the Leipzig kit for testing irony comprehension. In Lidro, we use object choice tasks and eye tracking to investigate irony comprehension in children. But children's irony comprehension is not only an important subject for research. It is also an excellent topic for university teaching because it is so close to everyday life and so multifaceted. The topic can be used to illustrate various aspects of human communication and innovative methods in the field of pragmatic development. With this in mind, I offered an interdisciplinary course on children's irony comprehension at Leipzig University in the winter term of 2024-25. I is Julia Fuchs. I am an assistant professor of German linguistics pragmatics at the Institute of German Language and Literature at Leipzig University. The course in question was aimed at master's students from 2-degree programs. On the one hand, students from the master's program in German studies. On the other hand, students from the master Early Childhood Research. Thanks to this combination, the students were very well equipped with interdisciplinary expertise. The students of German studies contributed their expertise in philology, while the students of early childhood research contributed their knowledge of child development. With enthusiasm and commitment, the students in this course designed and produced a podcast on children's irony comprehension. How is the podcast organized? Each episode addresses a specific key question. In the second episode on the key question, "What is irony?" the students very impressively explain the theories of irony that have been proposed so far and their defining characteristics. In the third episode, the students ask the key question, "Why does irony comprehension matter for children?" They show that, in contrast to earlier days when irony was primarily associated with negative connotations, more recently, various advantages or benefits have been emphasized. Episode 4 is dedicated to the key question, "When do children understand irony?" The students provide a good overview of why irony comprehension is so complex and why it presents researchers with a scientific puzzle. In the fifth episode, the students explore the key question of how we can investigate children's irony comprehension. This episode offers exciting insights into the world of scientific methods and recent innovations such as eye tracking. In episode 6, the students focus on children who differ from typically developing children in the way they acquire pragmatics and ask the question, "Can children with autism spectrum disorder and ADHD understand irony?" This is followed by the key question of episode 7, in which the students want to find out whether irony comprehension can be taught to children. Last but not least, in episode 8, the students address the very important key question of whether culture can influence irony comprehension, given the globalized world we live in. It will be interesting to see how students from Mexico, the USA, Germany, and Turkey view this question. The students and I hope you gain interesting and exciting insights when listening to the podcast. Investigating Children's Irony Comprehension, the podcast.